Knicks. But, like, the Knicks are not my team, obviously. But I have anxiety watching this game. And I'm not a Knicks fan, so I can't imagine what Knicks fans are going through. And they're all, celebrating, and they're so hyped right before trade.
Well, the game went back and forth.
Dagger.
There were 5 times I thought the Knicks won.
Yep.
There were late in the game, 4 minutes left, 5 times. I'm like, Knicks got it, big shot.
Knicks fans thought that too. And then Trae Young said, not tonight. Not tonight. He had 32 points, 107-105 win over the Knicks. The fans were chanting at Trae throughout the game, and he said it felt good to score the winning bucket and silence the crowd.
I definitely know the history of players coming in here being hated, and that's, like I said, I take that as a compliment, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously I'm doing something right if you hate me this much. So as I hit the floater, it just felt like everybody got quiet, and I was waiting for them FU chants again, so I was excited.
He was great, 32, 7, and 10. Julius Randle had 15 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists. R.J. Barrett and Derrick Rose both added 14 and 17, respectively.
Let's watch this. Look at this. You just cannot stand. Oh, my God. You can't stand. That's a tough shot. You can't stay in front of these guys, these Ja Morants and Trae Youngs, Steph Curry. I don't care who you are. You can't stay in front of them.
Well, it was really great to see and feel the energy that the fans bring to the game. I mean, last year in the bubble, we kind of all sort of adjusted to the aesthetics and the sound of a game like this with no fans. But throughout that, we all said, the NBA basketball is so unique. It's such an intimate setup for play that the fans are on the court.
On the court, you can talk to players.
Right. You run into fans if you're running out of bounds trying to save a ball. So you really, the interaction between fans, especially when you're talking about Knicks fans.
Oh, God.
With players, really affects the game. So it was awesome to see MSG, which looked completely full.
Oh, my God. How about Utah last night?
Yeah. I mean, it was great. It's so good to have fans back.
Oh.
And especially now that all the restrictions are lifted at the perfect time. We're going into the playoffs. They're going to have it's going to feel like a full house regardless of how many people you have in there because the fans are so excited.
It's really interesting. So one of the things when I was a kid, younger, I say a kid, when I used to watch Laker games in the Forum, I always noticed how well lit the fans were. You could watch a Laker. It was like no other arena. And somebody told me that's because they're famous and L.A. is a lighting town. They know how to light the crowd because you have movie stars. So you'd watch a Laker game. You could see the fans' faces. And that's what somebody told me years ago, it wasn't a coincidence. I don't know what it is with Madison Square Garden, but there's something the way that arena is formed. It feels like the whole damn crowd is on the court.
Yeah.
Everybody, even the guys behind the basket, it's just so intense, and it's like every other arena, but Portland doesn't feel like that. Denver doesn't feel like that. Memphis doesn't feel like that. There's a grittiness and an intimacy.
Yeah.
I've only watched a basketball game. 1 or 2 Knicks, 1 or 2 Big East. I've only seen about 3 games there, but it is different.
I've been there for 1 basketball game, 1 Heat game there, and for the McGregor fight. But there's just something about certain buildings just have an energy to them that you just really can't explain. And it was awesome to see. And that's part of it. The fans are back and they're talking trash. And Trae shut them up. And game 2 is Wednesday, and it's going to be an intense one, but I'm looking forward to it. So Memphis took game 1 from the Jazz on the road, thanks to big games from Dillon Brooks and Ja Morant. Brooks had 31 points, setting a single-game franchise scoring record for a Memphis player in a playoff debut, and Morant had 26 points. They got a 112-109 win. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell was out, so
and Mike Conley
he's recovering from a right ankle sprain.
Yeah, I mean, they just didn't have enough backcourt scoring. Mike Conley wasn't terribly effective late.
He had 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 assists, but
missed 2 3-pointers late.
Donovan was reportedly very angry about the late decision to sit him, but he's recovering. He played on April 16th, and he's been out longer than initially expected, so he's progressing slowly with his recovery, but they're obviously going to need him if they're going to win this series. Ja Morant was incredible last night, and
Utah can't. Donovan is juice. They don't have a lot of Utah's well coached. They have depth. They have a rim protector. They don't have a lot of offensive juice. They need Donovan Mitchell's 21 points, badly.
Well, that's the issue when you lose a player like that. And you lose with Jamal Murray when Donovan Mitchell isn't out there, when Jaylen Brown is injured. the defense, the leadership, all of that is important. But you're talking about offensive performances from guys that you can't supplement. Like you cannot have Jaylen Brown out there in those points when you're going up against a team like the Nets. Like you need to have all of your stars out there at this point. The Wizards put up a good fight against the Sixers.
They did.
They were within 5 points with less than a minute to go, but Philly held on the 125-118 win. Doc Rivers said before the game that he was worried his team might look rusty after a week off. And Joel Embiid did get into foul trouble early, but Tobias Harris had a huge game.
Huge. What did he finish with?
Career high 37.
I was going to say, he was
28 in the first half.
God, he was on fire early.
Yeah. So they had a 15-4 run midway through the third quarter, and the Sixers took the lead and kept it for good. Russell Westbrook had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 14 assists.
He actually
had 33.
Again, he played more measured. It was like a little bit more, that's what we were hoping for years ago. But I also think it's easier to play more measured as you age because you don't have that relentless.
Well, yeah, you can't go 100 miles an hour every play. But it also might work better for their style of play and leading into Bradley Beal scoring. Game 2 is Wednesday at 7. I don't anticipate this being a long series, but every game this weekend was
entertaining,
competitive and entertaining.
Yeah,
yes.
Brooklyn was so cold in the opening quarter against Boston. And you knew it would end, but you're like, this is everybody. Harden
but it makes you think for a second. You're like,
if they had
maybe.
Jaylen Brown, and they could, because Jaylen could guard Harden, and then you'd have Marcus Smart on Kyrie and Tatum on and KD, and you'd be like, okay, they can make it uncomfortable.
Right. I mean, I would still pick the Nets in the series, but there's been a lot of last-second shots, and the first games were amazing. So it's going to be a good NBA playoff run.
Good stuff, Joy, with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks.